All for One is a problem. And I'm not even sure which All for One is going to be a bigger problem, but I can already see the amount of complaining on social media when this game releases. Everyone is going to be calling these characters spammers. And the reason is because both All for Ones are zoners. And to be very clear, I hate zoners with a passion. You won't find me defending zoners in any of my videos, but when a player calls out spamming in an anime game, it usually means they're too dumb to figure out any sort of counterplay. They keep running into a wall and expecting the wall to move out of the way. And I can see that happening day one, especially against this character, All for One Chaos, which you only unlock after beating story mode, I believe. Now, this is my first time with the character, and as soon as I press that quirk 1 button, I realize, oh, okay, he's a zoner. I meant to stand away. This is actually quirk 3. It happens when you tilt the stick. For some reason, it's still called quirk skill 1, but quirk skill 1 without tilting the stick is this. He summons these projectiles and they track after a delay. Quirk 2 sets up these drones. So yeah, this is going to be spam the character and you're going to be seeing me spamming a lot more, but like I've said before, I think when players get called spammers, it's because you can't figure out counterplay. A few things that I'm going to recommend right now, and I haven't tested any of this, but a few things in my head already are dashing. Air dashing. Can you outmaneuver the projectile simply by using your speed? And also, air dodging or ground dodging. Does that remove the tracking from projectiles? A couple of questions to keep in mind as you try to figure out how to counterplay zoning in this game. There are also some specific characters that directly counterplay zoning. I mean, watch my last video. Lady Nagant was struggling against Mirio and Gran Torino for sure. Here we switch to Chisaki. We're going to come back to All for One Chaos in a second, but I felt like he needed to sit in the bench for a little bit and regenerate some health. This used to be one of the strongest characters, if not the strongest character in One's Justice 2, and so all the Chisaki mains are going to be yelling at their screen right now, because I'm not going to do a good job of representing that. Well, I'm going to activate his Rising, though, because he has one of the most interesting Risings. Overhaul V2 was actually removed from the game, and he became Overhaul's Rising. A lot of the community is saying that basically use Rising to become a worst character, which, you know, they're not entirely wrong, maybe, but this Rising does have an effect that was not present previously. Oh, this plus Ultra, by the way, is just going to stun me. But the Rising effect on Overhaul basically transforms the character, but also he recovers HP every time he lands an attack. He's also going to recover the red portion of health when the Rising ends. I suppose basically that's mostly chip damage. It didn't really happen here. I hate this stage with a passion too, by the way. A lot of obstacles on the way, different platform levels. This is some Sparking Zero level BS staging. I've seen some people like, I think, fairly criticizing the number of stages this game has. Versus mode only seems to have 9 stages. There are a lot more stages, obviously, in story mode and team-up mission. But with stages like this, I wouldn't mind them removing like 3 more of them. We're going to see another stage that I really hate in a second. Invisible Girl activated her Rising, a bit late on the description, but yes, she becomes completely invisible, and she also lowers the opponent's tracking for attacks and air dashes. Very important. She's going to do it again, so we'll have a chance to see it even better. I love Quirk 2 from this Shigaraki. Big beam, but you don't really get much from it. If it hits the opponent, it ends the combo. So it's not one of those that you can use for zoning and then tag in a teammate. I love this unblockable too. Just step on him straight up. And Quirk 3 does not combo, but it's still pretty funny. I see a whiffed attack. Let's go into plus Ultra. And after Shigari, we're going to tag in All for One Chaos once again. And now that we know what he does, it's time to start what's going to be a Twitter clip. Day 1 of this game coming out. Set up a drone or a sentry, tracking projectiles, set up another drone. And you know these guys are just going to be hiding behind these rocks while doing this BS all the time. Of course, this is going to work and going to be very frustrating against lower level players. I think you can probably find counterplay to this if you actually search for it. But I think this is going to be the character. I think this is how you're meant to play All for One Chaos. You're meant to play from a distance, because you can't reach me and I can reach you. Obviously, I get closer here to explore his moveset a little bit more. That's a mistake if you want to win matches. Unblockable attack is actually crazy. I think I'm going to do it here. This is his target combo, which is a lot slower than usual, but it has that range. This is the unblockable. 3 attacks completely unblockable that come out after a delay. You can actually move after setting them up. Not blocking here was a mistake. Present Mike was definitely going to get hit by that. But in comes Chisaki Overhaul as Present Mike activates his Rising. Now, his Rising is not that big of a deal. Whenever he hits the opponent with a Shockwave, those attacks will decrease the opponent's stamina gauge. That is the guard meter, basically. The meter they use to block and they used to do dodges and whatnot. Big plus ultra, I stopped blocking too soon. And in comes my last character. This being the last character, it automatically activates the Rising. And we've talked about Shigaraki's Rising in a previous video, but here we can see it for a longer amount of time. He takes on the defensive form, which reduces damage taken overall, and also puts that decay on the ground, which is going to continuously deal damage to opponents if they are on the actual ground. And here comes Invisible Girl. Remember, she goes completely invisible. Like, you can't even see her gear anymore. You can see the gloves, you can see anything. And it's really hard to play against a character like this. You can still kind of track her position thanks to the camera, but if your attack tracking is nerfed and your dash tracking is also nerfed, it's really hard to rely on your attacks. And also, you don't know when to stop blocking against a character like this. You don't know what they're doing. What are they going for? I don't know when my turn is. So you're just kind of swinging and praying, which I did right there. It actually worked. Use the combo breaker to get away from pressure. I still have a combo break myself, so I'm not too worried. I just throw out Quirk 3 and get the win right there. Now, today's video actually marks the end of the My Hero Academia week here on the channel, but if you guys enjoyed it, definitely subscribe because we'll have a lot more at launch, including a big tournament on February 14th that is open to everyone that has the game on PlayStation 5. Sign-ups are completely free. The link is in the description down below. Make sure you sign up right now. For now, we move on to our next All-for-One match, the final match here in My Hero Academia week. And guys, this is All-for-One Young, another new All-for-One that is playable in My Hero Academia All's Justice. Very different character from All-for-One Chaos, but as soon as I start and I do target combo into Quirk skill 1, I'm like, oh, he's also a zoner. Hang on, a very different type of zoner, however. Combo break coming out super early from Tetsu. I think I'm going to do Quirk 3 here, which is one of my favorites. Quirk 1 first activates the wings and then shoots projectiles, and that's Quirk 3 right there. Big wide attack, and these projectiles don't seem very reliable to me, but it feels kind of more like a setup thing than actual zoning. Incredible unblockable attack from Kami once again. She's always had it. Still very good. Yeah, gotta delay that a little bit more if I wanted to hit on Wake Up. This Quirk 4 is incredible, especially on Rising. Keep in mind, I'm giving you the descriptions of Rising moves, but for the most part, Risings also enhance a lot of quirks by just activating Rising. Big just guard, but no full combo from Kendo here. And she's just going to get hit by this. Yes, I think this All-for-One definitely also wants to keep his distance and poke at the opponent from far away, especially with Quirk 3. And after throwing enough Quirk 1s, you get that projectile. Now, I press it again to activate the wings. I can't fully explain how this ability works, but I think after shooting enough projectiles, it becomes that big charged projectile that dealt a ton of damage. I don't want to be spreading too much misinformation though, so do take that with a grain of salt. We'll have to go into practice mode and figure that out. Here comes Rappa. I know, so a lot of players are going to be happy that I am showcasing this. A couple of friends that really like Rappa. He felt pretty much the same as before. He still walks around, but he has dashes, so you mostly just dash around with him. One hit, confirm into plus ultra, because this guy is armored. We're going to miss a few plus ultra hits, but then we catch him and just follow up. Shura! Tetsu, always a character that's kind of hard to deal with. Once dude actually becomes Iron Body, there's not a lot you can do against it. Here comes Kami. Jumping away. By the way, this is another stage that I just do not like. I don't like stages that have like different levels. I think that gets in the way of a lot of combos, and it promotes a lot of hiding and zoning. And those are playstyles that I also do not like to see too much. And as you can see, this is a very uneven stage. There's a rock right there in the middle of this ground too. Another rock at the level above. But in comes Dabi. This used to be my main during the first one's Justice, so I still have a soft spot for this character. I am going to try to main the new Dabi. The new Dabi felt very interesting, but this Dabi feels pretty much the same, except Rising changed them more than I think I was anticipating. And I'm actually going to trigger Rising in this match, but not before we see another Rising. So keep that in mind. Now this is mostly another zoner. Trying to go for my usual combo, target combo into counter, and then I think Quirk 2 is the finisher. Unfortunately, Cammy is just doing a really great job of avoiding every single hit. Here she comes, target combo, Quirk skill 2, still ground splats, and that's a great showcase of how much shorter ground splats and wall splats are. That's a great example of how the terrain height difference completely screws up a combo, as Tetsu activates his Rising. Now, he turns his entire body into iron, he receives passive super armor, and the iron heats up as he takes more hits, increasing the damage that he deals, and it also makes him immune to burn damage. So this might be a kind of a tough matchup with Dabi, who also I decided to activate Rising here. He's going to do his Pulse Ultra, but it feels like being immune to burn damage feels like a direct counter to Endeavor, Todoroki, and also Dabi's. Now, Dabi's Rising creates a ring of fire, so it makes the stage a lot smaller, and whenever the opponent actually touches the fire around, you'll see that they take damage. But this is one of my favorite parts about it. You may have just noticed that Quirk 1 with Dabi is now 3 Flame Orbs. I see Cammy within range. I'm going to pop the Plus Ultra. And I was right. That was perfect. In comes Tetsu as the final character. He was a pixel away from dying. But since it's the final character, he goes back to 50% health and automatically activates his Rising again. It's a Rising that's kind of hard to deal with. And as you can see, I'm just mostly trying to zone him. It's still dealing some damage, this fire, so I don't know what that burn damage invulnerability means. Maybe it's just the effect of like burning over time, but the damage of the abilities is still good. You can still hit them with fire abilities. He's doing a lot of Rising actions, which is another great way to get around zoning. A lot of characters have this ability during Rising. They just straight up jump into the air and teleport to the opponent. And Tetsu actually bringing this back single-handedly. I am spending enough time of that Rising. He does something insane here, and we're gonna need to watch a replay. Basically what happened as I'm putting mines down on the ground is Tetsu jumps into the air, he hits me with his Rising action and cancels immediately into Plus Ultra, which caused this kind of odd knockdown from me, but it's good to know that you can cancel Rising action straight into Plus Ultra. But in comes All For One Young, who has one of the most insane Risings that I've seen in this game. He basically becomes immortal. He's just healing over time with insane speed. You gotta hit him with a TOD if you actually want to kill him. But when the Rising runs out, he's actually gonna die. So this is a race against time for me, which is why I'm gonna start using this Quirk 4, which is insane against Tetsu. It's an unblockable attack. So it's going to get right through his armor. And I hit him with Quirk 4 as he does his Rising action. He uses his emergency dodge, but, you know, this is working, so why not do it again? And that's all the gameplay that I was able to capture for My Hero Academia All's Justice. I want to take a moment to thank you all for your incredible support during this week. A lot of you have become YouTube members to get that early access to all of these videos, and the comments you've left saying stuff like it was so worth it to just support the channel for this low of an amount, like it means the world to me. It tells me you guys like what I'm doing, and I think that means I'm doing kind of a good job at covering these games. And I obviously can't predict the future, but I'm going to say that I'm going to try to do the same thing when this game comes out. Daily videos with early access to YouTube members, and the game's coming out in less than a month, so your membership right now will actually cover the launch of My Hero Academia All's Justice. You know, I'm trying to get more bang for your literal buck. But that's gonna do it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.